She announced, "I'm keeping the house, the car, and the dog in the divorce." I said, "Take them." What her lawyer didn't tell her was that I'd put everything in my mother's name 6 months ago. The judge's face when he read the deed was priceless. Original post. I'm a 52-year-old man, sitting here with a beer, still trying to process what happened in court today. My soon-to-be ex-wife, Vanessa 49, thought she had me cornered. Spoiler, she didn't. We were married for 11 years. It was the second marriage for both of us. No kids together. I have 2 grown daughters from my first marriage. She has a 26-year-old son who hasn't spoken to either of us in years. About 6 months ago, things started getting strange. Vanessa began working late all the time. Her book club suddenly met 3 times a week. She password protected her phone for the first time ever. Classic signs, right? But honestly, I was too tired to care much. My construction business keeps me busy, and after 11 years, I figured we just drifted apart. Then came the text, middle of a Tuesday, while I was on a job site. "Don't bother coming home tonight. Stay at a hotel. I need space." Me. "What's going on, Vanessa?" "I'll explain when I'm ready. Just give me the house for a few days." Weird, but fine. I checked into a motel, $89 a night. 3 days later, she texted again. "We need to talk. Come home at 6 o'clock. I showed up right at 6 o'clock. She was sitting at the kitchen table with her sister Monica and some smug-looking guy in a cheap suit. "This is Dennis, my lawyer," Vanessa said. "No, hello." No small talk. Dennis slid a folder across the table. "Mr. Garrett, your wife is filing for divorce. We'd like to discuss asset division before things get messy." I just stared at them. "You brought your lawyer to our house." Vanessa crossed her arms. "I'm keeping the house, the Lexus, and Brutus. You can have your truck and your tools. That seems fair. Brutus is our German Shepherd, best dog I've ever had." "Fair," I said slowly. Dennis jumped in. "Mrs. Garrett has been the primary homemaker during your marriage. She works part-time at a boutique." I cut in. 20 hours a week. I paid for this house, that car, everything. Oregon is a no-fault state, Mr. Garrett. Assets acquired during the marriage are typically divided equitably. "I know how it works," I said. Then looked at Vanessa. "You really want to take everything?" She gave a small, satisfied smile. "I deserve it. After putting up with you for 11 years. Monica nodded along like a bobblehead. I stood up. "Okay." They all looked confused. "Okay," Vanessa repeated. "Yeah, keep it. File your papers. I'll respond through my lawyer." Dennis actually looked disappointed. Probably wanted a drawn-out fight to bill hours. I left, drove to my buddy Travis's place, and told him everything over a 12-pack. "Man, that's cold," Travis said. "You just gonna let her have it all?" I smiled. "Nope. See, 6 months ago when Vanessa started acting shady, I wasn't just ignoring it. I was planning. I called my mom, 73 and sharp as ever, and talked through protecting my assets." "You think she's cheating?" Mom asked. "Either that or planning something. Her behavior's off. What do you need?" That's my mom. No drama, just solutions. We met with her estate lawyer, Howard, who's handled her affairs for years. I explained everything. Howard thought for a moment. "Your mother could purchase the assets from you at fair market value, a legal sale between family members, then lease them back to you for nominal fees. Would that hold up if it's done properly, with real money changing hands and proper documentation?" "Absolutely." So that's what we did. The house was sold to my mom for $340,000, exactly what I paid for it 3 years ago. She wired the money from her retirement accounts. I immediately moved it into a separate account Vanessa didn't know about. Then my mom leased the house back to me for $1 a month. All legal. All documented. The Lexus was sold to my mom for $28,000. She let Vanessa keep driving it. No paperwork, just a verbal agreement. I kept my work truck, which had always been under my business. It took 2 months to transfer everything, record it, and notarize it. Howard made sure every detail was handled perfectly. Cost me about $4,000 in legal and filing fees. Best money I've ever spent. Update 1 week later. The response to my first post. "Yeah, it's real. Yeah, I actually did it. And yeah, it gets better." 3 days after the kitchen table ambush, I got a letter from Dennis. Standard divorce petition. Vanessa was asking for the house, now valued at $425,000. She'd had it appraised, the Lexus. Half my business assets. Spousal support of $3,000 a month. Brutus. And she wanted me to pay her legal fees. I called my lawyer, Rita. She's handled my business matters for years. Tough woman. Doesn't tolerate nonsense. She wants what? Rita actually laughed. Everything plus monthly payments. Well, good luck to her. Send me Dennis's contact info. Let's respond. Rita's reply was perfect. She essentially said, sure, she can have the house and the car. They're not mine to give. She included copies of the sale documents showing everything had been transferred to my mother. She offered to split the checking account balance, about $8,000, and stated that my business would remain 100% mine since Vanessa had no involvement in it. As for spousal support, Rita argued that Vanessa is employed, has no disability, and is capable of supporting herself. She said we might consider short-term rehabilitative support, around $500 a month for a year, maybe. But when it came to Brutus, that's where I drew the line. The dog is registered to me, the vet records are in my name, and I've paid for everything. There was no way she was getting him. Dennis called Rita, and I listened in on speaker. Your client transferred assets out of marital property. Dennis began. That's going to look very bad to a judge. My client sold assets to his mother 6 months before divorce papers were filed. Rita replied, at fair market value? With proper documentation. When exactly was he supposed to know his wife would file for divorce? The timing is suspicious. Prove it. Prove he knew 6 months in advance. I'll wait. Silence from Dennis. Thought so, Rita continued. My client is willing to split liquid assets 50/50ths. That's generous. But the house and car aren't his to divide. He doesn't own them. More silence. I'll need to discuss this with my client, Dennis finally said. You do that. Rita hung up and grinned at me. This is going to be fun. 2 days later, Vanessa started blowing up my phone. You transferred the house to your mother? Are you kidding me? Sold it 6 months ago? Legal sale. This is fraud. You can't just hide assets. I didn't hide anything. It's public record. You could have checked any time. My lawyer says we can challenge this. Your lawyer is welcome to try. She hung up, then called back 10 minutes later. At least, give me the car. I need it for work. The car belongs to my mom too. But I'll tell you what, she was letting you use it before, and she's willing to keep doing that until you get your own vehicle. Generous of her. This is unbelievable. You planned this? Yep. She hung up again. Then things got even more interesting. Monica, Vanessa's sister, started messaging me on Facebook. Long rants about how I was manipulative, controlling, abusive, how I'd trapped Vanessa, how she was going to make sure everyone knew what kind of person I was. Cool story, I replied. Then blocked her. But Monica didn't stop there. She made a Facebook post, tagging about 30 people we both knew. My sister Vanessa is divorcing her horrible husband who transferred all their assets to his mother to hide them in the divorce. Please share so everyone knows what kind of snake Garrett is. My phone started blowing up. Friends asking what was going on, family members confused. I made one post in response. For anyone wondering, I sold some assets to my mother 6 months ago in a legal transaction. Divorce was filed last week. The timeline speaks for itself. If people want to believe I'm psychic and knew about a divorce 6 months before papers were filed, that's on them. I included screenshots of the sale dates and the divorce filing date and the divorce filing date. Let the evidence speak. About half of our mutual friends reached out to apologize for believing Monica. The other half didn't care. They believed what they wanted. Fine by me. I'm not interested in keeping friends who don't ask questions. Travis thought the whole thing was hilarious. Dude, you actually outmaneuvered her. That's legendary. Just protecting what's mine, man. Meanwhile, Brutus was with me at my mom's house. Vanessa kept demanding I bring him back, saying he was stressed without her. Dog seems fine to me. I texted, along with a photo of Brutus happily chewing on a new bone, tail wagging. She didn't respond. Update 2, 3 weeks later. Vanessa went completely off the rails, absolutely unhinged. First, she tried to get back into the house, My house, well, my mom's house, technically. I had already changed the locks after that meeting with her lawyer. Seemed obvious she might try something. Sure enough, 2 a.m. on a Saturday, my phone rang. It was the alarm company. Mr. Garrett, we have a breach at your residence. Police are being dispatched. I jumped in my truck and headed over. The cops were already there when I arrived. And there was Vanessa in the driveway, mascara running, yelling at the officers. This is my house. He can't lock me out of my house. One of the officers looked at me. Are you the homeowner, sir? My mother is. I'm the Dugrand tenant. She's my soon-to-be ex-wife who hasn't lived here in 3 weeks. I showed them the lease agreement and my mom's deed. The officer nodded. Ma'am, you need to leave the property. I live here, not according to these documents. She tried to argue, but they shut it down and warned her they'd arrest her for trespassing if she didn't leave. Eventually, she stormed off, yelling that this wasn't over. I called my mom the next morning to update her. Good Lord, she said. She's really lost it. Yeah. Thanks again for buying the house. Worth every penny. That's what mothers are for, honey. Next came the workplace drama. I run a mid-sized construction company, about 15 employees, solid contracts, steady income. I split my time between job sites and the office. Then I got a call from my office manager, Denise. Boss, there's a woman here demanding to see the books. Says she's your wife. Tell her she can schedule an appointment with Rita, my lawyer. She has no right to company records. Vanessa apparently caused a scene. She accused me of hiding money and demanded access to profit and loss statements. Denise, bless her, called the cops. Vanessa left before they arrived. Then I got a letter from the Oregon Department of Revenue. Someone had reported my business for possible tax fraud. An anonymous tip triggered an audit. I wonder who could have done that. I called my accountant, Donald. We're clean. Garrett, I've handled your books for 8 years. You're cleaner than a hospital. This is harassment. I know. Can you handle the audit? Already on it. We'll be fine. It'll cost you some time and maybe a couple grand in accounting fees, but there's nothing to find. Vanessa's next move was even better. She filed for a restraining order, claiming I'd been harassing and threatening her. Said I showed up drunk at her apartment at midnight, banging on the door. Complete fiction. I'd never even been to her new place. Didn't know where it was. The hearing for the temporary restraining order came up. Rita and I showed up. Vanessa was there with Dennis. The judge reviewed her petition. The judge reviewed her petition. Mrs. Garrett, you claim your husband showed up at your residence on April 8th at midnight. Yes, Your Honor. He was banging on my door, yelling, Mr. Garrett, where were you on April 8th at midnight? Rita slid documents across the table. Your Honor, my client was in Bend attending a construction industry conference. Here's his hotel receipt, conference badge, and sworn affidavits from 3 colleagues who were with him the entire evening. They had dinner until 11 p.m., then drinks at the hotel bar until 1:30 a.m. It's all documented. The judge looked at Vanessa, clearly unimpressed. Mrs. Garrett, filing a false restraining order, is a serious matter. I must have gotten confused about the date. Confused. The judge didn't sound convinced. Petition denied. The court whiz. I'll note this attempted filing for the divorce proceedings. Outside the courthouse, Vanessa and Monica cornered me in the parking lot. You smug jerk, Monica hissed. You think you're so smart? Honestly, yeah, kind of. Vanessa deserves that house. She picked the countertops. She planted the garden. She can buy her own house. With her own money. Novel concept. Vanessa cut in. The judge is going to see through this. You'll have to give me half of everything. Half of what? Vanessa, I don't own a house. I don't own that Lexus. I've got my truck, my tools, and my business. Pick which half of the truck you want. Dennis pulled up in his Kia. Ladies, let's not engage. They left. I sat in my truck for a minute, hands shaking. Not from fear, from anger. The restraining order crossed a line. That could have affected my contractor's license, my reputation. Rita noticed. You okay? Yeah. Just pissed. Good. Channel that. Discoveries next week. Let's bury her. Update 3. Court day. 6 weeks after Vanessa's lawyer ambush, we had our first real court date. Not the final hearing, just preliminary matters. Asset division, temporary support, all that. I got to the courthouse at 8:30 a.m. Rita was already there, sharp as ever, in a navy suit. Howard, my mom's lawyer, was there too, ready to testify about the asset sale, if needed. Vanessa showed up 10 minutes late with Dennis. She was dressed like she was going to a funeral. Black dress, minimal makeup, really leaning into the victim role. We went before Judge Pacheco, a family court judge with 20 years of experience. He's seen everything and has zero patience for games. Dennis started strong, laying out Vanessa's position that I had fraudulently transferred assets to avoid dividing them. He argued she was entitled to half the value of the house and car, and that she needed $3,000 a month in support because she'd given up career opportunities to support my business. Total lie. She chose to work part-time at the same boutique for 9 years. Rita let him finish, then stood. Your Honor, I have several exhibits. First, the deed showing my client purchased the residence 3 years ago solely in his name. Oregon is not a community property state. Second, the bill of sale showing he sold the residence to his mother 6 months ago at fair market value. Third, bank records confirming the transfer of funds. Fourth, the lease agreement between my client and his mother for the residence. All legal, all documented, all completed months before any divorce filing. She handed the stack to the judge, who began reviewing it. And the vehicle? Judge Pacheco asked. Same situation, Your Honor. Sold to his mother at fair market value, properly titled. Mrs. Garrett has continued driving it as a courtesy from his mother, but it is not a marital asset. Dennis jumped in. Your Honor, the timing is clearly suspicious. Suspicious is not illegal, Counselor. The judge replied calmly. Unless you have evidence Mr. Garrett knew about an impending divorce 6 months ago, the marriage was clearly troubled. Was your client planning to file 6 months ago? Dennis hesitated. Well, then how would Mr. Garrett have known? The judge continued flipping through the documents. These appear to be in order. Sale prices reflect fair market value, not artificially low. This was not a gift or a sham transfer. He looked at Vanessa. Mrs. Garrett, were you aware of these transactions when they occurred? Vanessa glanced at Dennis. I knew his mother was helping him with something. I didn't know what. Did you ask? No. Did you review any financial documents in the past 6 months? I trusted him to handle it. Judge Pacheco made a note. So you were aware he was conducting financial transactions with his mother, but chose not to inquire about the details. That's not fraud, Mrs. Garrett. That's you not paying attention to your own finances. Dennis tried to recover. Your Honor, regardless of the asset situation, Mrs. Garrett still requires spousal support. On what basis? She is 49, healthy, and employed. What prevents her from increasing her work hours? She was the primary homemaker for 11 years. The judge looked unconvinced. She works 20 hours a week, and there are no minor children. What exactly was she maintaining? Vanessa's face flushed red. Monica, sitting in the gallery, looked ready to explode. Rita spoke again. Your Honor, my client is willing to offer rehabilitative spousal support, $600 a month for 1 year. That is more than fair given Mrs. Garrett's employment, earning capacity, and available assets. The joint checking account, currently at $8,200, would be split evenly. Each party keeps their own vehicle. She continues using the Lexus, he retains his work truck. His business remains solely his, as she has no involvement. He retains the dog, as he is the registered owner. Your Honor, my client should receive the value of the house. Dennis began. Counselor, I've reviewed the documents. The house is not a marital asset. It belongs to Mr. Garrett's mother. Unless you have evidence this was a fraudulent transfer, and I mean actual evidence, not speculation, I'm not awarding your client something that doesn't belong to her husband. Judge Pacheco looked back at the papers, then allowed himself a slight smile. This is actually quite clever, Mr. Garrett. Unorthodox, but legal. You anticipated trouble and protected yourself within the law. Your wife is learning an expensive lesson about paying attention to family finances. He issued his ruling. The joint account would be split 50-50ths. I keep Brutus. No house or car awarded to Vanessa since they're not mine. Spousal support set at $600 a month for 12 months. Each party pays their own legal fees. Dennis tried to object. Your Honor, this leaves my client with almost nothing. Your client has a job, a vehicle, $4,100 from the joint account, and temporary support. She will be fine. This is what happens when you assume assets will simply be there when you need them. Petition granted, as modified. Next case, we stood. Vanessa was crying, not out of sadness, but anger. Outside the courtroom, Monica went off. This is ridiculous. That judge is corrupt. We are appealing. Dennis looked exhausted. Mrs. Garrett, I advised you from the beginning that these asset transfers might be legally sound. You said we could fight it. I said we could fight it. I said we could try. There's a difference. Vanessa turned to me. You planned this. You planned all of it. Yup. You manipulative bastard. Nope. Just a guy who saw his wife acting shady and decided to protect himself. Worked out pretty well. Rita steered me away before things could escalate. In her car, I finally relaxed. That went better than expected, I said. Judge Pacheco doesn't tolerate nonsense. He saw exactly what she was trying to do. Think they'll appeal. They can try. It won't go anywhere. The asset transfers are solid. I called my mom on the drive home. Hey, we won. Of course you did, honey. That house is mine, bought and paid for. Thanks, Mom. For everything. Come over for dinner Sunday. Bring Brutus. Will do. Update 4. The aftermath. The divorce was finalized. 8 weeks later. Standard cooling off period. Then final paperwork. Vanessa didn't show up to the final hearing. Dennis appeared alone and confirmed she accepted the terms. Judge Pacheco signed off. Just like that, 11 years were over. Rita shook my hand outside. Pleasure working with B. Garrett. You, Garrett, you made my job easy by being paranoid 6 months early. By being smart. Wish more clients were like you. The spousal support started $600 a month, automatically deposited. Fine. 12 payments total. I could handle that. About a month after the divorce was finalized, Vanessa moved 2 hours away. I heard through mutual friends she was living with some guy she'd met online. Guess that explains the book club. Monica blocked me on all social media. No loss there. The interesting part came 3 months post-divorce. I got a call from my mom's lawyer, Howard. Garrett, I need to discuss something. Your mother wants to sell the house back to you. Really? Her retirement portfolio took a hit in the market. She wants to rebalance. She'll sell it to you for what she paid, $340,000. You already have the cash, since that's what you originally paid her. That works. Tell her I'll buy it. So my mom sold me the house back. The transfer took 2 weeks. $340,000 moved from my separate account to hers. The house went back into my name. By then, the market value was around $460,000. I had essentially parked my money in my mom's name. She used it for her investments, and I bought back an asset that had appreciated. And there was nothing Vanessa could do about it because the divorce was final. Travis nearly fell over laughing when I told him, "Dude, you're my hero." The business audit wrapped up. Donald was right. They found nothing. Because there was nothing to find. It cost me $2,100 in accounting fees. Just another item on the list of Vanessa's failed attempts. Brutus is thriving. I built a new dog run in the backyard. He's got more space than before. Happy dog, happy life. As for me, it's a strange feeling. I'm not sad the marriage ended. It was over long before the divorce. It's more like relief. For years, something about Vanessa felt off, the entitlement, the expectation that I'd fund her life indefinitely, the lack of real partnership. The divorce just confirmed what I already knew. I did lose some friends, people who thought I was cold for protecting my assets, people who believed Monica's Facebook rants, whatever. Better to find out who's real. My daughters called after everything was settled. Neither of them ever liked Vanessa. Dad, we're proud of you for standing up for yourself, my oldest said. I just did what needed to be done. Most guys would have just rolled over. Maybe, but I spent 20 years in construction. You learn to plan ahead, anticipate problems, protect yourself. This was just applying that to a personal situation. I got a postcard last week. No return address. Postmarked from 2 states away, Vanessa's handwriting. You won. Hope you're happy. I am. Actually. Not in a vindictive way. just peaceful. The house is mine again. The dog's with me, my business is solid. My mom's portfolio is healthy. Vanessa chose to blow up the marriage. She chose to ambush me with a lawyer. She chose to assume she could take whatever she wanted. I just chose to be prepared. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's making sure you don't get screwed over by someone else's entitlement. Final update. 6 months later. It's been half a year since the divorce was finalized. Life's mostly back to normal. Work is busy. Picked up 2 new commercial contracts. Brutus is fat and happy. The house is quiet, but in a good way. Spousal support ended 2 weeks ago. Final payment processed. Done. Vanessa's completely out of my life now. Heard through the grapevine she split from the online boyfriend after 4 months. Apparently, he wasn't as financially generous as she expected. Shocking. She's now working at a different boutique, full-time 40 hours a week. Guess she realized she actually needs an income when there's no husband subsidizing her life. The Lexus got repossessed. My mom had let her keep driving it after the divorce as a courtesy, but Vanessa never made a single lease payment once I stopped covering them. Mom gave her 90 days notice. She ignored it. The car went back to the dealership. Monica sent one final message through a mutual friend. Tell Garrett we know what he did. Karma will get him. I told the friend to let Monica know Karma already handled things. Vanessa's living paycheck to paycheck in a studio apartment while I am still in my house with my dog and my business. Seems fair. Mon's doing great. Her investments are up. She even bought herself a new car. With some of the profit, a nice Cadillac. She joked over Sunday dinner. Helping you was the smartest financial move I made all year. You gave me $340,000 to invest for free. I made an 8% return in 6 months, then sold it back to you for the same price while the house appreciated. We both won. You're a genius, Mom. No, you are, for thinking of it. Travis got engaged. I'm the best man. His fiancée asked if I'd ever date again. Maybe eventually, I said. No rush. You are not bitter about Vanessa. Nah. She showed me who she was. I handled it. I'm good now. And I am. The divorce cost me about $12,000 in legal fees, $2,100 in audit-related costs, and 12 months of $600 support payments. Call it around $20,000 total. In return, I kept a house worth $460,000, a business worth around $800,000, and my dog. Plus, I learned a valuable lesson about protecting yourself before you actually need to. Would I do it again? Absolutely. Every time, seeing Judge Pacheco's slight smile when he realized what I had done. Worth it. Watching Vanessa's face when she understood she was walking away with almost nothing. Worth it. Having my house, my dog, and peace of mind, priceless. Someone asked on my original post if I felt guilty. Honest answer, not even a little. I didn't cheat. I didn't lie. I didn't break any laws. I just made smart, legal moves to protect what I worked for. Vanessa gambled that I'd roll over. She lost. And yeah, I'm happy about that. Life's good now. Business is growing. Brutus just turned 7 and still acts like a puppy. The house will need a new roof next year, but I can afford it. Mom's healthy. My daughters visit regularly. Some nights, I sit out on the back deck with a beer, Brutus at my feet, and think about how close I came to losing everything because my wife decided she deserved it all. Then I remember. She's gone, and I'm still here, in my house, living my life. That's the real win. Not the money or the assets, just the peace of not having to deal with that entitlement anymore. To anyone going through something similar, protect yourself. Don't assume loyalty means anything when money's involved. Get your ducks in a row before you need them. And if you've got a mom like mine willing to help, even better. Cheers to being prepared. Cheers to standing up for yourself. And cheers to really good dogs. End of updates. Time to move on with life.